Well, hey there, class. This is one of your videos for the packet. I hope this format works for you. You'll have to reference the packet well because you might not be able to see this, but this is the answer documents that you can see, and I hope to go through the different things that you need that I think would be beneficial for you. This is project number 1. I don't know what page number this is, but it's number 7 that starts out in number 1C, and it takes you all the way through those. But before we get to that, or while you're finding that page, what I want to make sure that you recognize is terms and term numbers are two very different things. You've always got terms 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've always got term numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. But the terms themselves may not be that. So in other words, if I want to count even numbers, the first 5 even numbers are 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. And we can recognize that as the term number and the term. The term number might be the first 5 terms. Those terms would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So please recognize the difference. And these end up being the sub number. So this would be term number 1 and all the way up through n, and this right here would be a sub n. So we use the same variable a to represent all of the different terms, but because each term is different, we use a little subscript number. So a1 is 2, a2 is 4, a3 is 6, and so forth and so on. And a great idea, great key dealing with your explicit formulas, not necessarily recursive, but your explicit formula would say, is there a way to jump right to a term by just knowing the n? And we can see in this case right here, it's pretty easy. If I want to know the 5th term, I see that it's 10. The 6th term would be 12. I'm just doubling the term number. So what would the 100th term be? 200. Okay? But obviously every sequence is going to be slightly different. Okay? So with that in mind, we can jump to, or we can learn all these different things. We call our common difference D. That's the amount that I add each time. And looking back at 1C, the first term was 12. The second term was 17. Well, what's the difference between those? What do I do to 12 to turn it to 17? And it was add 5. Well, if I add 5 again, what do I get after that? 22. And we saw that on that previous page. So that's the consistent amount of adding 5 each time. That's what an arithmetic sequence is. Arithmetic, not arithmetic. Arithmetic is a noun, arithmetic is an adjective. You pronounce it in that way, it's an arithmetic sequence. So, how can we develop a formula? Well, think about this. If I am at the first term, 12, what do I have to do to get to the second term? Add 5. How many 5s do I add to get to the second term? Just 1. Oh no. I guess I haven't changed the, here we go. Are you kidding me? So what do you have to do to the third screen? There we are. Here we are. What do you have to do to get to the third term? If you're at the first term, what do you have to do to the third term? You add 2 common differences. If you want to get to the 10th term, what do you have to do? You add 9 common differences, because you don't add 1 to get to the first one, you're already there. It's like when you have when you're on the first step. Well, it doesn't matter. So that's the idea. That's why you always add 1 less n than the term number you want. And that's why this formula right here works. It is to get to any term you want, we'll start with the first term and then add a bunch of differences. How many differences? 1 less than the term you want to jump to. Why 1 less than the number of terms? Because you've already taken a step. If you've taken a step and you want to get to the 10th one, you only have 9 more steps to go. So that's why that formula works the way it does. And then of course you can move through and see how those formulas work for something like numbers 11 and 12. Our 20th term is found by taking our first term, sequence that begins with 5 and has a common difference of 4. You take your first term of 5 and add 19 fours to it, and that will take you all the way up to 81. The rest of them work similarly from there. Do sequences always have to start with the first one? No, they do not. They could start, like in this case, I know the fifth one and the common difference of 2. Well, doesn't that mean you just, instead of adding 2 to move forward, if I want to get to the first term, can I just subtract 2 to work backwards? Absolutely. We can see right here, that's what I did. I subtracted 2, subtracted 2, subtracted 2, subtracted 2 until I got to the first one. And once I get to the first one, then I can build my sequence. Well, what if you start with the 9th one and you want to get to the 100th one? Do you actually have to go all the way back to the first one? Not if you're savvy about it. If you're at the 9th step and you want the 100th step, how many more steps do you have to take? Well, the number of step you want to get to, subtracting away the number of steps you've already taken. And if you've already taken 9 steps and you want to get to 100, subtract away the 9 steps you've taken and let that be the number. So that's why those work the way they do. All right, stay in tune for the next video.